I've said it a million times. Google is your friend. Use it. Learn something. Unless what you're trying to learn is how to dispose of a dead body. That's the one time you shouldn't fucking Google anything, folks. I can't believe I have to say that out loud. And I'm not even talking about Jennifer McCabe. I'm talking about yet another murder trial in Norfolk County, Massachusetts, where Brian Walshe is accused of murdering his wife, Anna. And his Google searches are off the hook. According to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Brian Walshe murdered his wife in their couple's Cohasset home over New Year's Eve in 2023. He was originally charged with murder, illegally disposing of a body, and lying to police. In the last week, he's come forward. He pled not guilty all along, but all of a sudden, about a week ago, he changed his mind and he pleaded guilty to illegally disposing of a body and lying to the police. But he still says he's not guilty of her murder. Let me just give you the quick backstory. So according to police, the couple had a friend over on New Year's Eve. So the friend left between 1 and 1:30 in the morning. This is now Sunday, January 1st of 2023. Nobody reports Anna missing until Wednesday the 4th, when her employer calls the police for a wellness check. That's when she's first reported missing. And the police treat it as a missing person because they go to talk to Brian, and Brian says, oh, my wife left Sunday morning to go on an emergency work trip to Washington, D.C. Now, right there, I got to say, Sunday morning of a holiday, a federal holiday, and your wife is getting on a plane to go to a work emergency at 6 a.m. Sure, whatever. That sounds believable. His story is that she left between 6 and 7 in the morning on a Sunday. She took a ride share to Boston Logan Airport, and he's not heard from her since. And the reason he hasn't heard from her since is because then he claims his young child, a 6-year-old, must have hidden his phone because he hasn't been able to find his phone in 2 days. So even if Anna, something went wrong, even if she was trying to contact him, even if the police or her work or anybody were trying to contact him, he has no contact because he can't find his phone. That's convenient. Although on its surface it might appear to be a missing person case, Brian Walshe is acting a little funny. And when the police start to really dig into this, they realize there is no evidence that Anna ever took any ride share, never arrived at the airport. There's no evidence of that. They do find a phone in his car. He claims it belongs to his 6-year-old, but he voluntarily lets them do some research on the phone and kind of some GPS searches. And that's when all hell breaks loose. And we talk about just the Google searches. They allegedly start at 4:55 a.m. on Sunday the 1st. So he claims his wife left the house at 6, but these Google searches were starting before 5 a.m. that morning. And this is not hostile to dying cold, people. This is really terrible stuff, so get ready. How long before a body starts to smell? How to stop a body from decomposing? Can you throw away body parts? Can an identification be made with partial remains? How long for someone to be missing to inherit? I forgot to mention Anna has nearly $3 million worth of life insurance, the payout of which would go directly to Brian if something were to happen to her. But in missing persons cases, by the way, you have to be missing for a really long time before you can be declared dead. Like it's like years and years and years. So I don't know why anyone thinks that this is a feasible way to get your hands on the money. How long does DNA last? Well, we're about to find out. It lasts for fucking ever. Every single one of these questions, and by the way, this is just a smattering. There was like 10 more searches that took place that first day that are super gruesome, and it's stuff that you could learn just by watching one damn episode of Law & Order. Don't fucking Google these things. How many times have you heard stories where cold cases are cracked because some random hiker finds a thigh bone that's been buried in the woods for 15 years and they manage to pull DNA off of it? You guys, I'm just going to tell you, yes, you can identify a person from dismembered body parts. It turns out he also lied to the police when he said he didn't really go anyplace that day. He said he went to go to the grocery store and then he went to go visit his mom, but it took a little bit longer because he didn't have a phone, therefore he didn't have GPS, and apparently he doesn't know where his mom lives. And he got lost and it took much longer. Well, yeah, there's a whole other side trip he took. In fact, he went to Lowe's that day and he purchased buckets, cleaning towels, rags, like hundreds of them, a bunch of different cleaning fluids. He also bought trash bags, a Tyvek suit, which is one of those white, like coveralls, almost like a hazmat suit that you used to see Walter White using when he cooked in the basement. Yeah. And then a hacksaw. Yeah. And then he went to CVS and allegedly bought 13 different types of hydrogen peroxide. For the life of me, I didn't even know there were 13 different types of hydrogen peroxide, I think brands, but your local CVS carries 13 different options of hydrogen peroxide. That's insane. And the next day, allegedly, the Googling continued, right? So now we want to know all about the hacksaw and how to dismember a body. And then, of course, can there be murder charges without a body? And Walshe found out the hard way. That answer is yes, there can be murder charges without a body. There's also evidence showing that later that day, on the 2nd, he went to Home Goods and purchased 3 new rugs. He also went to a Home Depot. He now buys buckets, tarps, goggles, a hatchet, a utility knife, and 2 12-pound bags of baking soda. Again, something else I've learned. I had no idea you could get 12-pound bags of baking soda from Home Depot. I had no idea what you would use 12-pound bags of baking soda for, but maybe Brian Walshe learned that in his alleged Google searches. The defense is saying that Brian's 6-year-old child was the one that made all those Google searches because he's a real smart kid and he's obviously very curious about how to cover up a murder. And so the 6-year-old made those Google searches. And all I got to say is, A, I think it's pretty shitty to throw your kid under the bus, but B, at least this way, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts does not have to use taxpayer dollars to bring in some fake expert like Jessica Hyde to try and prove that the Google searches never took place. I know we're all innocent until proven guilty, but this one feels pretty overwhelming to me. I think it's going to go quick. They have to convince a jury that he's guilty, and they have no body, and they have no evidence of how she was murdered. So this could be tricky. I'm going to keep giving reports as I learn more information.